In this video, I'm going to walk you through Lab 10. So to begin, attach this video on Blackboard. There are going to be two files. There's going to be one that says Lab 10 Begin, and that is the Revit starter file. That's the file we're going to be working within. And then there's also a file on there called CAED title block 24 by 36. Go ahead and download both of those files, and then when you have them downloaded, open up the Lab 10 Begin Revit project file. All right, once that is opened, this is what you should see on your screen. So what I have in here, if I go to a 3D view really quick, we basically have a simple building, and it has no windows or doors built into the outside of it. But if I were to show you what's inside, we have just a few walls, and there's some rooms that also don't have doors and stuff like that. And that's what we are going to be adding in. All right, so I'm going to go back to my level 1 floor plan view. So these are going to be our objectives for this lab, okay? It's going to be a little bit longer than some of the other labs because there's a few things that I want to touch on. But basically what we are trying to do is add in curtain walls. We're going to add in room tags. We're going to create an elevation view. Then we're going to create a sheet, and then we're going to add this floor plan and that elevation to our sheet, okay? So I'm basically showing you how we did some of the stuff that we did in AutoCAD for the practical assignment 1, how we can do those same things here inside of Revit, okay? All right, so to begin with, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start working on the outside of the building, and then I'm gonna work my way in. So what I'm trying to do, what the goal is, if I were to click on these walls here, you can see what I have drawn in on this CAD underlay is a couple curtain walls. So there's one here and it has a door within it. And then over here, there is an additional curtain wall here on this rounded portion of wall. Okay, and that is what we're going to add into the exterior. All right, so to be able to see this CAD underlay that is underneath of this wall here, what I want to do is override these walls so that I can see through them, all right, similar to what we did in previous labs. So what I'm going to do to start out with is click on this wall here, and then I'm going to right click on it. Then I'm going to go to my override graphics and view setting, and then I'm going to choose by category, okay? Choose by category because that will override all of the walls, not just this one. Once I have that, I want to go here to this section that says surface transparency, and I want to dial that up. Let's see how 50 looks. All right, that looks good enough. So then I'm going to just click OK, and now we can see through the wall. Next, I'm going to disable the selection for my underlay. So we're going to go down here and click on the pin icon so I can no longer select that, so that doesn't interfere. And then we're going to go ahead and start drawing in this curtain wall right here. All right, so here really quickly, I just wanted to show you this picture to sort of explain what our goal is. In case you aren't aware or familiar with what a curtain wall system is, basically it's just a system of glass panels. Okay, so here you can see we're looking at an example of a building facade, and the entire wall is basically made up of a series of glass, panes of glass that are divided sort of in a grid. Okay, so these elements here, these metal pieces that are dividing the glass, those are what are known as mullions. Okay, if you've ever heard of that before. Basically a mullion is just our piece of metal that is dividing our individual panes of glass. Okay, and then within Revit, these panes of glass that we're looking at here, these are referred to as curtain wall panels, okay? So just remember that. Whenever I refer to a curtain wall panel, I'm talking about the individual pane of glass that is in between all of the mullions, okay? Within Revit, and you'll see this as we go through and start working on creating these, basically our curtain wall system, the entire wall itself, is divided into 3 components. We have the curtain wall panels, again, that's the glass. Then we have what are known as curtain wall grids, and these are basically just lines that are used to divide the curtain wall into panels, okay? And we place these lines individually. And then on those lines, we have our mullions. The mullions and the curtain wall grid lines are separate, okay? You can choose to add a mullion to them, or you can choose to not add a mullion to them. And that'll make some more sense as we continue and I show you actually how to make these. All right, so here I am back in Revit, and to begin drawing in this curtain wall right here, I want to go up here to my wall tool and click on it. And then if you look in your properties bar, you want to click on this drop down right here, and mine is already set to the curtain wall, but by default we have been working with the basic wall types up until now, but at the very bottom of this menu here, you can see we have a curtain wall section, and there's 3 different types of curtain walls here. All 3 of these have different presets basically built into them, and they all work a little bit differently. You can watch the LinkedIn learning videos I've assigned to get an idea of what all these do. But for this video, we're going to use this basic one here that just says curtain wall 1. All right, so go ahead and click on that. After we have it selected, we're going to change the height of our curtain wall right here in the properties. So right now it's set to 20 feet. I'm going to change that to a height of 10 feet and then click apply. And then I'm going to begin drawing. So I'm going to zoom in here on this intersection. So if you look at my CAD underlay, what I have right here is a mullion. All right, the first point on my curtain wall is going to be where this mullion intersects with this opening in the wall. So this line right here. So I want to find this center point, this little intersection right here, and then click once. Next, I want to drag to the right until I hit the same thing on the opposite side, and then I want to click one more time. You'll probably get this warning saying that these walls overlap. That's okay. Just go ahead and click the X on that box, and then when you're back here, just click escape a couple times to exit out of the curtain wall command. All right, so next thing we need to do is actually make the curtain wall cut an opening into this wall. Depending on the curtain wall type that you're using, it might do this by default. So for example, if I were to just use one of these other types, sometimes it will just make an opening on its own, like that. Right, but if it's not doing that for us, we need to tell Revit to cut an opening into this wall, okay? So to do this, what we want to do is go up here to our Modify button and click on that. This will take us to our Modify tools. Then we want to find this tool right here that says Cut, all right? Basically what this lets us do is cut openings into like walls and other components whenever Revit doesn't do it for us automatically, okay? So I'm going to click on Cut. And then what I want to do is I want to select the wall that I want to cut an opening in. So I'm going to click on this wall here. And then my second click is going to be the curtain wall itself, okay? So I'm going to click on the curtain wall. And you can see when I do that, it is now basically peeled this wall back on both sides and created an opening just like I have on the CAD underlay. All right. Next, I'm going to click escape once. And then what I'm going to do is fix the positioning of my pane of glass. So you can see right here what I'm looking at, these 2 black lines. This is my actual pane of glass. If I were to go to 3D view, you can see it's just one big pane of glass, okay? To make this line up with the CAD drawing, so on the CAD drawing, the pane of glass is centered right here. I need to hover over the pane of glass and then hit my tab key until it highlights. All right, so you can see when it highlights, it says curtain wall panel. As I said before, the pane of glass is a curtain wall panel, and we know that we have the right thing. So when you have that, just click on it. You'll see in your properties that we're getting a system panel glazed. All right, that's what you want to say. And when you see that, you want to click here on the edit type button. the type properties box will pop up and you'll see this little parameter here that says offset. Right now it's set to 1 1/4 inches. We want to just highlight this and then set that to 0 and then hit apply. And you can see in the background, once I did that, my pane of glass is now shifted and it is now centered up where I want it to be. Then I'm just going to click on OK, and then I'm going to hit escape to back out of that selection. All right, so now what we need to do is basically subdivide this curtain wall system into several sections. So if you look at this, you can see that I have a division here, a division here, a division here, and one more division right here. All right. So we basically need to go in and add these divisions manually because, as I said, we just have one giant piece of glass, okay? So to do this, what we want to do is go up here to our architecture tab, and then if you look here in this section, you'll see this option that says curtain grid. All right. If I hover over that, you can see we can draw in these grid lines, and basically these grid lines are what allows us to place mullions, which actually divide the glass. Okay, so we're going to click on curtain grid, and then we're going to make sure this all segments section is checked. And what we want to do is hover over these mullions here that are sort of in the middle. Okay, so not the ones on the end, but the ones in the middle, these four. We want to hover over top of these and place a curtain grid that is centered on them, okay? So when you're hovering over top of your pane of glass, you'll see this like gray line that's appearing, and it only appears when I'm right over top of it, okay? When you get this, you just want to click once, and that's going to make a division in the glass, okay? Next, I'm going to move down here. I'm going to do the same thing right there, and then another one right here, and then another one right here. And they should kind of snap automatically where they're supposed to go. All right. Once we've placed all four of those, we're going to click escape, and then I'm just going to toggle back to my 3D view to get visual confirmation. So if you look now, you can see we have 4 panes of glass. You can see these lines that are running through them and segmenting them. So they're divided now into 4 panes of glass, and if you were to tab, now you can select the panes of glass individually, so they're broken up and they're not all just one big piece anymore. Now the next step of this is going to be actually adding in our mullions. All right. So to do that, we can either do that in a 3D view like this, or we can do it in our floor plan view. I'm just going to stay in my 3D view, and what I'm going to do is go up here, make sure I'm on my architecture tab, and I'm going to click this mullion option right here. All right. When we click the mullion option, in our properties bar, if you click the drop down, you'll see there are several different types of mullions that we can choose, okay? The one we want is this one I have by default, which is the 2.5 inch by 5 inch rectangular mullion. All right. And then you can see we have this little placement section here. So what this is letting us do is either place it on an entire grid line, place it on a grid line segment, or place it on all grid lines, okay? And if you hover over these, you can see what that's going to do. What I want to do is basically add a mullion to all of these grid lines at once. So you can see if I have this grid line option selected, if I were to click, I could click on all of my grid lines and add them in one by one. But to do this quicker, if you click on all grid lines and then click on the curtain wall, it's going to add in mullions everywhere for you automatically, so you don't have to go around and click on them individually. So you can see now we have these mullions that are added in here, sort of like what we saw in my sample picture that I showed you a little bit ago. And if I go back to the level 1 floor plan view, we can confirm that these are aligning with our CAD drawing. All right. So it looks like these are lining up pretty well with the CAD drawing. If there is a modification you need to make, actually, I'm going to override this so I can actually see through to make sure. To do this, you can just click on one of your mullions and then right click on it, and then go to override graphics in view by category and change the surface transparency of this like we did for the wall. So set this up to like I'm just going to make these 100% transparent and then click OK. All right. So now I know these are totally transparent, and since I cannot see my CAD drawing underneath of it, I know that they're in the right spot. But if you were slightly off on your placement and you want to fix it, what you would do is hover over until you get this grid line, click on it, and then you can just drag it. So you can see now as I drag that, it is no longer aligned with my mullion underneath. All right, so say you're in a situation like this. To move that back over again, you don't want to click on the mullion itself because you can't just drag the mullion, okay? To control where that mullion is placed, you have to click on the actual grid line that's tied to it, and then we have to move it, so use my move tool, and then we can click on the edge of the mullion, okay? And then we can move it back to the left until it's aligned, all right? So if yours is messed up and yours aren't in the right spot, that's how you can go about fixing this, okay? All right, so mine looks pretty good. The next step is going to be adding in this door right here. All right. Another thing I'm going to do, just so I don't get confused, is hover over my floor. So you can see I have this extra line running through here. That's actually my floor that's underneath. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to hide in view elements just to hide that so it's not messing me up. All right, so next is to add in this door. So I like to work in 3D, so I'm going to go back to my 3D view. And the first step of adding in this door is going to be deleting this mullion right here in the door opening, okay? So anytime you have a door and you have a mullion right there, you want to get rid of it because in real life you're never going to have this mullion that's running through the door opening. So you just want to hover over it, click on that mullion, and then click delete to get rid of it, okay? All right, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my view cube here, and I'm going to click on this option that says front to just get like a front-on view of my curtain wall. All right. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tab a couple times until I get my actual curtain wall right here. So you can see when I click on it, it says curtain wall 1. Then what I'm going to do is go up here to where it says selection box. I'm going to click on that, and that is going to isolate basically just my curtain wall, so I'm not seeing anything behind it that would mess me up, okay? And if you were to rotate, you can see now my 3D view is just isolated to only that curtain wall, okay? So basically what I'm trying to do here is I have a curtain wall that is 10 feet high in total, and I want to put a door right here, but I don't want the door to be that full 10-foot height. I want the door to be 8 feet tall. So that means I'm going to have to add in another segment right here in my curtain wall grid so that my door only comes up to be 8 feet high and it doesn't fill in this entire panel. So to do that, we want to go back here to our architecture tab, go back to the curtain wall grid tool, and this time when it says placement, instead of all segments, I want to click on one segment. All right, all segments is going to create a segment that goes all the way through this. So if you look at my line here, my dash line is running all the way through the entire curtain wall. If I click on one segment and I hover over, you can see now it's wanting to place the grid just over the curtain wall panel that I'm hovering over. All right. And as you're doing this, you'll see that the curtain wall grid line will only appear when you're hovering over the mullion. So if you want to place a horizontal grid line, you want to hover over a vertical mullion. If you want to place a vertical grid line like this, you want to hover over a horizontal mullion, okay? What I'm trying to do here is hover over this mullion, and I want to move my cursor until I get these dimensions here. So I want to get a height of 8 feet and a height above that of 2 feet, all right? So I'm going to place that. And then I also want to take into account the thickness of this mullion. So this grid line is basically being placed in the center of a mullion, but it has a thickness of 2.5 inches here. So we're going to want to take that into account too. So that means we should then tab to this grid line here, or just select it, and then move, use our move tool, and we want to bump that up another 1.25 inches. So now when we place our mullion, we will have a perfect 8-foot height for our door. So now I'm going to go in here to my mullion tool, and I want to choose the grid line segment option right here. And then I want to hover over that grid line segment, and I want to click once to place a mullion right there. All right, so this is what we're looking for. Basically just a door with like a little transom pane of glass above it. All right. So now the next step is actually adding in our door right here, okay? To do that, we want to go to the Insert tab. Then we want to go to this option that says Load Family. And then inside of our Load Family dialog, we want to go to the Door folder. And we want to find a few different options here. So if you look, you'll see we have these ones that say curtain wall doors. Okay, so door, curtain wall, double storefront. We have the double glass, and we have the single glass. What I want to do is select all three of these. So I'm going to click on the top one, and I'm going to hold Shift and then click on this bottom one right here to get all three of them selected. And then I'm just going to click on Open. All right, and that's going to load those into the project. So now those are loaded into my project, and we can go about adding these. So the thing to remember about curtain walls and doors inside of curtain walls is they don't function like regular doors. So for example, if I were to go to the Architecture tab, and you don't have to do this along with me, just watch what I'm doing. If I were to click on Door and then hover over my curtain wall, you can see it doesn't want to add a door in. Okay, that's because the doors for curtain walls work a little bit differently. They're technically curtain wall panels. They're not actual doors like they are with a regular wall and a regular door. So to add these in, the way we do this is we want to select the actual panel that we want to replace. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm just going to hit my tab key along the edge of this pane of glass until I get it selected. All right, so now I have that selected. You can see here it says System Panel Glazed. If you hit the drop down, we can change that panel now, and you'll see we have those three door options that we inserted previously. All right, so the one that I want is this one that says Door, Curtain Wall, Double Storefront. All right, I'm going to click on that. And when I do that, you'll see it's going to add in a double door for me right there in that panel. All right. If I want to see the actual handles that are associated with this door, I can go down here to my detail level, my model detail level, and I can switch this to a fine level of detail, and you'll be able to see the handles for my door. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is go back to my floor plan, and now I just want to flip this door here so that it's in the correct orientation matching my floor plan. So I'm going to click on my door, and then I'm just going to click on this little flip arrow icon, and that's going to flip it in the correct position, and you can see now it's perfectly aligned with my underlay that's below it. All right, so that's basically how these curtain walls are going to work for the rest of this assignment. All right, so next we're going to go over here to this one. So here I'm going to show you how to do one on like a curving wall segment. All right, so this works very similar to this one here. What I'm going to do is go back to my wall tool, and then I'm going to switch this to curtain wall 1 again. And then I want to mess with my heights a little bit, okay? So this one, I actually want it to be setting up above the ground a little bit, so I want a little bit of wall below it. So a little bit of brick wall below it. So this one is going to have a base offset of 3 feet. And then its unconnected height, I still want it to be I want it to be aligned with this curtain wall here. So that means I need to switch its unconnected height. I basically need to subtract 3 feet from this 10 feet, or else it's going to be 3 feet too high. So now I'm going to type 7 feet for its unconnected height and click apply. Next, what I'm going to do is go up here to my drawing tools, and I'm going to click on the Start End Radius Arc tool. All right, once I have that selected, I want to hover over on my plan. I want to find this intersection here with this mullion and this wall opening. That's going to be my first point. So I'm going to click there. Then my second point is going to be the opposite one on this end. So I want to click on this intersection here. And then my third point is going to be when I get this snap that says 90 degrees. I'm going to click one more time. And it's telling me that I have a highlighted wall that overlaps again. It's okay. I just click the X to cancel out of that. All right, the next thing that I want to do, you can see this is just a single glass panel. So we need to start adding in grid segments to sort of subdivide this to actually get this to bend, okay? So we need to segment it. So again, we're going to go back to our architecture tab, and we're going to click on our curtain grid button. All right, and then make sure we have all segments checked. And then what I want to do is hover over my curtain wall, and I want to basically hover over the center point of it until I get what you're seeing here, where I have two 45-degree angle indicators. And when I see that they both say 45, I'm going to click once to add in a division there. Next, we basically want to find the midpoint of this pane of glass here. So we're going to hover over this till we see it say 22.5 and 22.5. When we hit that, we're going to click again, and that's going to create another division. And then we're just going to do the same thing on this one here. So here we're moving until we see it say midpoint of curtain panel. Then we're just going to click one more time, and there we have our 4 segments placed as we want them. Next, I'm just going to click Escape to cancel out of this tool, and then I'm going to go back to my 3D view to see how this is looking in 3D. All right, so we still have our front curtain wall isolated. To unisolate that, I'm going to go over here under my properties where it says 3D view, scroll down a little bit until I see this one that says section box, and uncheck that. And then click apply, and that's going to bring back my my curtain wall. Okay, so as you can see, this one also is embedded inside the wall and it's not cutting properly. So we're gonna have to go back to the level 1 floor plan and fix that. All right, so if you remember, to fix that, we're gonna go up here to the modify tool. We're gonna click on that, then we're gonna go here to this cut geometry tool. Our first click is going to be on the wall itself, okay? And our second click is going to be on the curtain wall. So then once I do that, you can see my 2 lines have appeared, and now it appears this is properly cutting out an opening inside the wall. So I can switch back to my default 3D view to confirm, and you can see this is what we were expecting. So if you look at my curtain wall, you can see it's coming up off the ground by 3 feet. So we have this section of brick wall underneath of it. And then the top of it is aligned with my original curtain wall right here. Next, we need to add in our mullions to this. So to do that, again, go back to our architecture tab, and then we want to go to the mullion tool, and we want to select the all grid lines option. All right, with that selected, go ahead and just click on one of your grid lines on the curtain wall, and that is going to place all of them at the same time. And this is what we are looking for right here. All right, so I'm gonna switch back to my level 1 floor plan view, and as you can see, this is nicely aligned with what I had on my CAD underlay. All right, so that's gonna do it for the exterior. Next, we're gonna add a couple of interior curtain walls here. All right, so our first one is going to be this one right here. So to create this curtain wall, what I'm gonna do is actually click on this one on the exterior, and I'm going to type CS on my keyboard for the create similar command, and then I'm just going to start by snapping to this intersection, dragging straight up, snapping to this intersection here. Again, we get the error. Go ahead and click out of that, and then we're going to cut the opening again like we did with the other two. So to cut the opening, go up here to modify, click on cut click on your wall, and then click on the curtain wall itself, and that is going to cut it out of the opening. Next thing I want to do is change the height of this. So this one is actually going to be 8 feet in height instead of 10 feet in height. So to change that height, go ahead and select the curtain wall, go over here to the unconnected height and switch that from 10 feet to 8 feet, and then click on apply. That's going to switch it to be the correct height. And next we just have to go in and add in our mullions here. So to do that, we want to go here to architecture and divide this with the curtain wall grid tool. So curtain grid. Then we're just going to hover over these sections here until we get them centered on top of the mullions on the underlay. So there's going to be one right there, and then there's going to be one more right here. Okay. And then what we want to do is click on our mullion tool and choose the all grid lines section or option, and then hover over our curtain wall, and then click one time to add in all of these curtain wall grids. All right. The next thing I want to do is I want to view this in 3D to make sure it's looking okay. So what I'm going to do is select the curtain wall itself. Then I'm going to go up here and again click on my selection box tool to isolate that in a 3D view. All right, hold your shift key and use your middle mouse button. If you hold down your middle mouse button and drag, you'll be able to orbit in 3D to see what's going on. Okay, and then we can click on this section box is what it's called, this black box that's running around here. We can click on that and we can use these drag or these grips, and we can drag it to expand this view a little bit. All right, so here you can see is my CAD underlay, and I basically again want to put a door right here. All right, so the first thing we need to do is click on this mullion at the bottom, and we need to delete it. Next thing we need to do is click on our curtain wall panel right here. So you just want to hit the tab key until that selects, and then you want to switch this again with the door curtain wall double storefront. Or wait, no, we're not going to put the double storefront. We're going to put the door curtain wall double glass for this one. All right, so that's what that one looks like. It basically doesn't have an extra frame around it. It's just the glass panels itself. That's the one we want for this interior. All right. Once that's done, we're going to go back to our level 1 floor plan, and we're going to make sure this is going the right direction. So we just need to click on this and then click on the flip to flip it into the right position. If I zoom in here really close, you can see I'm a little bit off on my alignment. So here I'm going to show you again how to move this to be in the correct position. I want to hover over my mullion sort of until I get this curtain wall grid line to appear. Click on the grid line and then use my move tool. Click on the edge of my mullion and then drag it up until I get the edge right here of this door. And that's going to put it in the right spot. I'm going to go over here, make sure it's aligned here. It looks like it is, so this one appears to be good. All right, so that's going to be it for that one. Next, we're going to move over and we're going to do this one. So this one is a little bit different because what we have here are two curtain walls, but they are converging at a right angle, okay? And when we do this, there's something special that we have to do to create it. All right, so to start out with, we're again going to use a new curtain wall. So actually, I'm going to click on this one now and use the CS command to create similar. I'm going to zoom in here and I'm going to start drawing this one. This one is a little bit hard to draw because you don't get a snap here on this end. So I'm actually going to start on this end at this intersection here and work my way from right to left and then end this wall segment when I hit the wall. Okay. When I get that, just going to click escape, and that is going to finish the command. Next, we're going to add in the curtain wall that goes right here. So to do that, I'm going to again select this one and click CS for create similar. Then I'm going to start drawing right here, drag straight up until I hit this wall, and then click one more time, click escape, and that's going to finish that. All right, so to resolve this corner, what we need to basically do is add in a special mullion that is a square. All right. So to do that, what we want to do is go up here to our mullion tool, and then when we have that selected, go here to your properties, click down, and then you want to find the one that says 5" by 5" quad corner. All right. Go ahead and click on that. And then once you have it selected, go ahead and just hover over one of the ends of one of these curtain walls and click one time. And it should create a mullion there. You'll get like a little bit of an error, but it's all right. Go ahead and just click the X. And then we're going to click escape once. Okay. And then you can see it's not quite in the right spot. So what we need to do is basically just adjust this a little bit. I'm actually going to select the entire curtain wall here. I'm going to use my move tool then, and I'm going to move this straight down until the end of the mullion is correct where it's supposed to be. Then all I need to do is make sure the endpoint here is still connected to the wall, and it looks like it is, so that's good. All right, so you can see basically this curtain wall has a mullion tied to it and this one doesn't. All right. The next thing you want to do is start adding in your curtain wall grids on this portion so we can put this door in. All right, so what we just need to do for that is, again, go back to our curtain wall grid tool, click, and then we're going to hover over these ones that are sort of in the middle, get them roughly close to where they're supposed to be, and then click on them. All right, and then we're going to use our mullion tool again. We're going to make sure all grid lines is selected for this, and then we're going to switch our quad corner mullion to just be a regular 2.5" by 5" rectangular mullion here. Next, just click on the curtain wall. That's going to add in all the mullions, and then go in and adjust as needed. All right, so I'm going to hover over this, make sure I get my little curtain wall grid line appearing. Then I'm going to use my move tool. I'm going to click on the edge of my mullion. I'm going to move it to the right till it is in the right spot. And I'm going to do the same thing to this one. All right, so now that's in the right place. Next, I'm going to create a selection from left to right, click and drag, and then when I get these two curtain walls selected, I'm going to release, and then I'm going to use my selection box tool again to go to a 3D view to see what's going on. All right, so again, orbiting around and panning to get the right orientation. So you can see when I added in all the mullions that I possibly could, it gave us some extra ones that we don't want. So the first one we don't want is this one here on the edge where we're meeting up with our corner mullion right here. So we want to zoom in and we want to select that mullion. And if you're having trouble, go ahead and just click tab a couple times until it just that highlights, and then when you get it selected, go ahead and delete it. All right, and then the next one, again, is this one here at the bottom. So you always want to delete that one out of the doorway. All right, so we're going to delete that. Next, we can go ahead and add in mullions to this portion of the wall right here. So this glass panel. So again, go back to your mullion tool, and to make this easy, again, I'm just going to use the all grid lines option. Click on the edge of this, and you can see it adds in the remaining mullions that we need. All right, so this is how it should look before we add the door in. So next, again, we're going to add in our door. So we want to hover over the edge of this glass panel, click on the tab key, and then select the panel when it highlights. And then we want to click on the drop down, and we want to find the option that says door, curtain, wall, single, glass, and click on it. All right, that's going to place in a glass door for us. Going back to our level 1 floor plan view then to make sure that it's in the correct orientation. Here we can just click on the door and then use the flip arrow right here to flip it into the correct spot. All right, so that is going to do it for all of the curtain wall systems. All right, so if you look at my little objectives that I have right here, that's going to do it for adding the curtain walls. Next, what I'm going to do is quickly show you how to add in these room tags. All right, so if you look, we have 5 rooms and we have the room tags tied to them. All right, so to do this, we want to go here on our architecture tab and we want to find the room tool. We're going to click on this, and to make this easy, what you could do is just hover over here and then click in each individual room and place these individually. But we have this option here to automatically create rooms for each room in the project. So I'm going to click on place rooms automatically. That's going to automatically create 6 rooms for me. All right. And then I'm going to just go in and edit these. Really quickly, I'm going to go here to my scale in the bottom left corner, and I'm going to switch this. So right now it says 3/8 of an inch equals 1 foot 0 inches. Click on this. I'm going to switch this to 1/4 of an inch equals 1 foot 0 inches. That's going to automatically make my room tags bigger. Okay, and these ones are all falling in the correct position except for this one. So I'm just going to drag this one until it's pretty much lined up with the one on the CAD underlay. All right. So once we've done that, what we want to do is go ahead and give all these rooms the appropriate name and the appropriate number. All right. So to start out, we can go ahead and just click on. We actually want to click on the room. Okay. So you can see this has a room tag. That's what I moved. But then there's also a room. The room you can select by moving your cursor, and if you're in the right position, you'll get this little highlight, or this, it looks like an X that's running through the room. If you click on that, that's the actual room itself. And then over here in your properties bar, you'll see a section that says identity data. Right here is where you assign the name of the room and you assign the room number. All right, so this one is going to be 101 and its name is going to be foyer. All right, and once I have that, go ahead and just click on apply, and that's going to update my room tag. Then we'll just work our way around all these rooms here. So this next one is going to be the meeting room. Make sure you select the actual room itself right there. The room is going to be meeting room. And the number is going to be 102. Okay, moving on. Next one is going to be office. And the number is going to be 103. Next is another office. And the number is going to be 104. Next is a third office. And the number is going to be 105. And then our last room is going to be a conference room. And our number is going to be 106. All right. That does it for our rooms, our room tags. Next, we're going to create this elevation view right here. So we're just going to add one elevation, and it's just going to take a look at this curtain wall, this interior curtain wall that we have drawn, okay? So to add this elevation view in, what you want to do is go up here in your ribbon, and you want to find the View tab. Once you have that, you want to click on this option right here that says Elevation. Next, you want to go over here to your Properties palette, and you want to click this drop down where it says Building Elevation, and we want to switch this to an Interior Elevation. Okay, and then what you want to do is get close to this wall right here, and you can see as you get close to certain walls, the marker will switch its position. So as I hover over near this wall, it automatically points at it. If I were to go to any of these other walls, it would point at them automatically. But you can see it recognizes where a wall is, and we just want to place this right over top of the one on the underlay, like that. And when we click, it automatically gives it a name, and we can click X then to exit out of this. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is click on the what's known as the head of this elevation marker right there, so that little black part. And you can basically see this line right here that popped up. This is showing us basically the cropping of the elevation view. So anything sort of behind this line is not going to be shown in the view, and anything in front of this line up until this point right here is shown in the elevation view. What I'm going to do now is double click on this head, and that's going to take me to my elevation view so I can see what's going on. If you look here, you can see we have some sort of extra information that we don't need. So if I switch this to a different visual style, let's say shaded, you can see here's my curtain wall, but then anything above and below that is stuff that I'm not concerned about. So this is the portion of wall sort of above that, which actually we do want to see, but this is the roof. We don't want to see any of that. And this right here is the floor. We also don't want to see any of that. So what we're going to do is go ahead and crop that out of the view. All right, so what I'm going to do is click on my view boundary right here, and you'll see I get this option that says Edit Crop. I'm going to click on that, and now I'm getting sort of a sketch mode where I can manually place the cropping of this view. So I'm going to click on this top line, and I'm going to move it down, and I want to move it down until it's intersecting with the bottom of my roof. Okay, so that's right there. And then this line right here, I'm going to move this one up until it's intersecting with the bottom of my curtain wall. Okay, and once I have that, I'm going to click on the green check to finish the edit mode. Something else that I don't want in this view are these level indicators. So I'm going to click on one of these, and I'm going to right click on it then and go to Hide in View, and then click on Category, and that is going to hide both of those. All right, so that's looking pretty good for my elevation. The only thing that we are seeing that we don't want to see is this little brown piece right here. So if you click on that brown piece, what you'll see is this is a door, okay? And if I were to go back to my level 1 floor plan view now, you'll see which door that is. So that is this door right here. So what we are actually seeing in the elevation view is the casing that surrounds that door. So let me see here. If I go to a fine level of detail, now you still can't see it. Let's see. Let's say I go to a 3D view of this really quickly. Let me highlight this and then just use my selection box. Okay, here's a 3D view showing that. If you look, around the door is this casing that's running, okay? The casing doesn't appear in the floor plan, but it's there, and that is what is showing up in our elevation view. So to get around that, basically what needs to happen is we need to make the start of our elevation begin past this door casing, okay? So what I want to do is go back to my floor plan. I want to click on my elevation again, my elevation head, and then here, this line, I want to move this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I think we can just drag it, yeah. Actually, no, I'm not going to just drag it. I want to click on this, and then I'm just going to use my move tool. Yes, you can just use your move tool and then move it from left to right. So it doesn't look like anything is showing, but if you click and drag, that's going to move that to the right a little bit. And then when you get it relatively close to here in front of your curtain wall, you can just use your arrow keys on your keyboard to nudge this. And basically I want to nudge it until it's right in front of my curtain wall right here. Okay, so we're just nudging it a little bit, and right there is pretty good. Okay, so then once we have that, we can go back to our view of the curtain wall, and you can see now that is not appearing in my view, okay, because the actual view is starting past that that casing. All right, so that's pretty good. Next, I'm just going to go back to my floor plan view, and that's going to do it for the elevation. All right, so next what we want to do is create a new sheet for the project, okay? All right, so to create a sheet inside of Revit, what you want to do is go down here and you want to find this Sheets option right here. Before we do that, we actually have to load our title block into the project, okay? So the title block is that file that I provided along with this file, the Revit project file, the one that says CAED 24 by 36 title block. So what you want to do is go to your Insert tab, and you want to go to Load Family, and you want to navigate to where you have saved that file. So I'm going to find that really quick. I'm going to go to my folder, and you want to find this file right here, and then click on Open, and that is going to load it into the project. Next, we can go ahead and create our sheet. So again, if we go to our project browser and we go down here to the Sheets section, we can right click on that, and then there's this option that says New Sheet. All right, that's going to bring up this window. Next, what it's asking us to do is select our title block. So our title block is going to be this first one right here, CAED 22 by 34 horizontal. All right, go ahead and just click on OK, and that is going to create a new sheet with a title block already placed for us. All right, so the final step of this assignment is to add in the views to this sheet, okay? So to add views onto a sheet, you want to go in your project browser here, and then click on the name of the view you want, and then drag it. So I'm going to click on level 1, and I'm going to drag it to the right, and then when I get on top of my sheet here, I'm going to release, and that is going to add it to the sheet. So you can see now it has this like big window right here. I'm just going to click one more time, and that's going to finish placing that view. Okay. The only thing I need to do is crop this viewport down because you can see it's way too big. Okay, so to crop this down, we want to click on it, and then we want to either double click within it or click on Activate View. And then over here on the left side, again in our Properties panel, you can see it has this Extents section. So there's an option that says Crop View. You want to check that on, and then there's this one that says Crop Region Visible. You want to check that on as well, and then click Apply. Once you've done that, you'll get this black line appearing around your view. Go ahead and click on it, and then you can use these blue grips, these little dots here, and you can just drag them to crop this in really close to your floor plan. All right. Once you have it how you like it, you can turn the Crop Region Visible option off, and then you can just double click in the white space, or actually no, just click Escape a couple times, and that's going to back out. Or you can double click, yeah, just double click on the white space outside of the view, and that's going to take you back to your actual sheet. And you can go ahead then and just place this where you want it to show up. All right, to move the actual view title, you can see there's a view title associated with this as well. Just click on that and then drag it up so it's right underneath of the view. And you'll see in my case, my view title is really long. To control the length of this line, you have to click on the actual view one more time, and then you'll get this little blue grip that pops up. You can click on that grip and you can drag it to the left to shorten that up. Okay, so you want something basically like this. Another thing to note is you can go ahead and just hide these objectives. So I'm going to double click within here one more time. And then I'm actually just going to delete them because I don't really need them anymore. And then I'm going to double click outside. And there we go. I'll just put my view title right underneath of my view, aligned with it. And that looks pretty good. Make sure this is set to 1/4 inch. So this should have been done in a previous step, but if yours looks smaller than mine or larger than mine, just double click within it. And down here at the corner, you can see this is where you set your view scale. So mine is set to 1/4 inch, but if yours isn't, click on this and find 1/4 inch and change the view scale. All right, so the last thing then is to add in our elevation view. So if you look over here again in your project browser, we have an elevations section. You want to click on this one where it says interior elevation, click the plus, and you'll see this one that says elevation 1A. This we can click and we can drag it. Again, place it under a sheet, and that is going to drop it on. And then when we have it where we want it, I'm just going to hover over this till it aligns with my other view title, and then I'm going to click, and that's going to finish placing it. So this one is already cropped pretty well by default. The only thing I'm going to do is click within this, and I'm going to switch my view style back to a hidden line view so that it gets rid of my colors. And then I'm going to double click back outside of this to finish that. Lastly, I'm going to rename this view so that it doesn't just say elevation 1A. Let's go ahead and click on the view itself, and then go over here to the left on our properties palette, and if you scroll down to this section that says identity data, it asks you for the view name. I'm just going to rename this to interior curtain wall 1. And then click apply, and that's going to update my view name. Another thing to note before we finish, you can see that both of my views have a number that's automatically assigned to them in the view title. And with Revit being intelligent, it's going to add that view number everywhere. So if I were to look at my floor plan now, you can see it has added my new name for my elevation here at the end of my elevation symbol, and it's also added the view number in as well. So you're seeing on sheet A101, this is view number 2. That's where you'll find it. And if you look on sheet A101, which is where we are, at view number 2, you can see number 2 is right there, and that is my interior curtain wall 1. So that's kind of the beauty of Revit. It does a lot of this stuff for you automatically. All right. Finally, let's go ahead and just add a couple pieces of information to our title block. So project name, go ahead and call this Lab 10. And then our sheet is going to be floor plan and elevation. And then owner, that is going to be your name. All right, everything else should be good. All right, so before we export this out to be a PDF file, there's two quick things that we need to do, or else we're gonna have a couple small errors on our printout. The first thing is we need to get rid of the underlay file that is currently on our floor plan. So I'm gonna zoom in here and then double click within this view to select it. Then I'm going to make sure that this select pinned elements icon is disabled so that I can click on the underlay. Then what I want to do is zoom in and try to find a portion of the underlay file. So if I zoom in here where I see the foyer name tag, I want to hit my tab key until I get to the Lab 10 underlay, and you can see it's popping up next to my cursor there, so I know that that's the correct thing. When I get that pop-up, I want to click on it. And then I just want to delete it because we don't need it anymore. All right, then I'm just going to zoom out and I'm going to double click outside of my viewport to return to my sheet. The next thing that I want to do is double click on my elevation here. And then I want to hover over where it says Views, Elevation, Interior Curtain Wall 1, this little box going around it. Click on that and then scroll down in my Properties panel, and I want to turn off this Crop Region Visible option. Right, when I click Apply, you can see we get this little gap right here because there's a tiny little portion of the wall that's not actually showing. To fix this, what I'm going to do is go up here to my Annotate tab, and then I'm going to click on Detail Line, okay? Over here under Line Style, I'm going to switch this from thin lines to wide lines. And then I'm going to choose the rectangle option. And then I'm going to hover over the top corner right here of my wall, and then go all the way down to this opposite corner right here, and then click once. And that's just going to put a little line in that's going to fill that in and make it look correct when it's on the sheet. So then all I'm going to do is double click outside of this again to return to the sheet. And at this point, we should be ready to go ahead and print this out to a PDF file. So to do that, go up here to the File tab, click on Print, and then set your printer to be some kind of a PDF printer. For me, I have Adobe PDF, so that's what I'm going to choose. Then what I want to do is go here to the Properties button. Next, I'm going to go here to where it says Adobe PDF page size, and I want to make sure that says ArcD. Okay, that's going to be the correct size for our printout. Go ahead and click on ArcD, then click Apply or click OK. Then go down here to where it says Print Range. Click on Selected Views/Sheets, and then click on this button that says Select. All right, in this, all you want to do is check on this option at the very bottom where it says Sheet A101 Floor Plan and Elevation. Just go ahead and make sure that is checked, and then click OK. If you get a little pop-up that asks if you want to save those settings, just click No. Lastly, what you want to do is go here to where your file output is, and then click on Browse, and choose a location to save your file and give it a name. So this one, just give it a name of Lab 10 Sheet A101 and then your name, and then click on Save. All right, and then when you have all those settings done, go ahead and just click OK, and it's going to go ahead and print out your file. All right. So I already have one, so I'm just going to replace it, and then that is going to go ahead and create a new one. And then I'll show you what mine looks like. All right, so here is my PDF file now after it has been created. You can see my title block is placed onto a 24 by 36 inch piece of paper, and I have all of my views within here just as I would expect them to be, and there's no errors within the view that we had before. All right, so what I want you to submit for this assignment is this PDF file and then your Revit project file as well. So go ahead and save that, save this PDF file, and submit both of those to the assignment Dropbox on Blackboard, and that will do it for the assignment.